Today's lesson is on the product rule. So another way of taking derivatives when you have a product of two functions. So if you have a function where it is, you basically have the product of two other functions, to take the derivative, what you have to do, take the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So this is something that you need to memorize, the product rule. Okay, let's do an example. Let's say we've got h of x equals 4e to the power of x times 4 minus 5x. So clearly I've got two different functions. So this could be my f and my g that I'm multiplying. So to find the derivative, let's write it down again. Derivative of f times g plus f times the derivative of g. So let's start. Let's see, what is the derivative of this? 4e to the x, well, derivative of that is 4e to the x. And then times g is 4 minus 5x plus f, which is 4e to the x, times now the derivative of g is negative 5. So in this case, we have two terms, and they have a common factor, 4e to the power of x. So I could factor out 4e to the power of x, and then I'm left with 4 minus 5x minus 5. So 4e to the power of x, and then negative 5x minus 1. And I can factor out a negative, and this could be negative 4e to the power of x times 5x plus 1. All right, next example. Let's do 3 sine x times cosine x. So if this is f, this is g, derivative of the first times the second, plus the first times the derivative of the second. All right, so derivative of the first is 3 cosine x, and then times the second times cosine x. Okay, plus f would be 3 sine x times the derivative of the second. Derivative of the second would be negative sine x. So we could simplify that down. We've got 3 cosine squared x minus 3 sine squared x. All right, here's the third example. Here we have a function 3x to the third times the natural log of x. I'm going to write the product rule again. The more we write it, the more it'll sink in your brain. So derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So derivative of the first, bring down the 3. So 3 times 3, 9x squared times the second function, natural log of x, plus the first function, 3x to the third, times the derivative of the second, which is 1 over x. And then I can simplify that, 9x squared ln of x plus, if you think about this, that would simplify down to 3x squared. And there's your final answer. Okay, one more example and then we'll look at a table. 3 over x times sine x. So remember, this can be rewritten as 3 times x to the power of negative 1 times sine x. So when we do the derivative, one more time, derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So derivative of the first, bring down that negative 1, so negative 3x to the power of negative 2 times the second sine x plus the original of f, 3 over x, times the derivative of the second cosine x. And now I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Negative 3 sine x over x squared plus 3 cosine x over x. All right, so for the final example, we're just going to look at a table of values that kind of gives the value of x, the value of f of x at 3, 5, the derivative of f at 3, negative 2, and then another function g of x at x equals 3 is negative 3, and the derivative at x equals 3 is 2. So now, if I have h of x is 4 times f of x times g of x, let's find the derivative of h. So to do this coefficient we can have out in front, 4, and now derivative of the first times the second, plus the first times the derivative of the second. All right, so I've got 4, and then in brackets, so derivative of f is negative 2, times g is negative 3, plus f is 5, times the derivative of g is 2. So I've got 6 plus 10. 6 plus 10 is 16, times 4 is 64. There we go. So there is your full video on the product rule. It's a lot of fun. Good luck with your lesson.